Hi, everyone. It's Friday, May 27th, Friday evening of Memorial Day weekend. I just want to take a quick second and point out that yes, Memorial Day weekend is the start of summer, and many people, myself included, celebrate with cookouts or get togethers or otherwise fun activities. But Memorial Day is first and foremost a day to remember those men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who lost their lives defending and protecting their country. So please take a moment this weekend to remember and honor our fallen servicemen and women. But yes, also summer starts now. Thank you all for stopping by the beach club to spend a beach weekend with me here in Bonfire Beach, South Carolina. I think probably the best way to kick this off is to start with the history of Bonfire Beach. If you've read either or both books in my beach series thus far, you know that Bonfire Beach is the main setting. If you haven't read my books and you've still managed to find your way here, welcome. I'll give you a quick premise of what the series is all about before talking about Bonfire itself. So I think we'll start off with that. Afterwards, I'll share what's going on with book 3 in the series, as well as some other things I'm doing that I would love to have you along for the ride. And we'll close with our first giveaway of the summer. I'll show you what the Beach Club's first giveaways will be. There are 2, and how you can enter for a chance to win. So, sound good? Again, please bear with me with any technical difficulties that may arise. I haven't had a whole lot of time yet to really play around with video recording and editing and whatnot and get a feel for everything. So if you have any helpful tips or tricks, please feel free to share them in the comments down below. I won't be offended and I would welcome the instructions. So thank you in advance. Here is the first book in the Beach series. Let me grab it here. Can you see it? There we go. It's called Beached 101 Pilot, and I've titled it as such because my main character, a man by the name of Stacy Storm, is a disgraced reality TV star, and the titles of the books follow the format of television scripts. So this is the very first book in the series, so it's the pilot episode, so to speak, and the 101 refers to the fact that it's season number 1, episode number 1. The second book, I don't have it with me right here, but the second book is titled Beached 102 Low Tide. So the 102 means season number 1, episode number 2, 102. I'm currently writing Beached 103, which is the third book or episode in this first season. So season 1, episode 3, 103. There will be 6 books or episodes in the first season, and I'm already sketching out the storyline for season 2 and starting to lay the groundwork for that in the last few books of season 1. So that's the reasoning behind the book titles. And I'll give you a smidge of a hint. That's kind of an Easter egg that will make even more sense later on. For those of you who are new to the series, Stacy is psychic in a very specific way. He can hear and interact with beings called soul collectors, who exist in the dark realm between the world of the living and the other side, and who feed upon souls who are making their way from this world to the next. Stacy can also hear and interact with souls who are trapped and cornered in there by the soul collectors, and he can rescue those souls and prevent the soul collectors from taking them, so that they can make it safely across to the other side and eternity. Stacy and his best friend Derek had successfully pitched Stacy's gift to a brand new television network called the Cosmos Channel. And they starred in a reality show called Soul Searchers, in which they traveled the world and filmed Stacy saving trapped souls. They were the Cosmos Channel's breakout stars and put the network on the map. They became world famous, very wealthful and successful. And then suddenly, after 5 seasons, Stacy inexplicably lost his gift. He no longer heard the soul collectors. He no longer heard the souls. There was nothing but dead silence. No pun intended. He and Derek kept this a secret from the network execs, hoping that the collectors and the souls would somehow return, and managed to fake it for 2 more seasons before an anonymous source, unknown as of right now, tipped off the network that their stars were frauds. Soul Searchers was immediately pulled, and Stacy and Derek were fired and promptly became laughingstocks and subjects of ridicule and scorn worldwide. For a multitude of reasons, Stacy is determined to prove that he is not a fake, and he wants to get back on top and regain the success and worldwide admiration he had once enjoyed. And to accomplish this, he purchases an empty mansion that was the scene of a mass murder. He moves in, and he begins to plan his comeback. The mansion is located in the upscale, old money, very exclusive oceanside village of Bonfire Beach, South Carolina. Stacey Storm is everything the villagers look down upon. He's Hollywood. He's supposedly fake Hollywood. He's new money. And he's looking to exploit a tragedy that the rest of Bonfire Beach would very much rather forget. So not only is Stacey not welcome in the world at large, neither is he welcome in his new hometown, and he has lost everything that made him who he was. He has to rebuild from scratch. So that's what the beach series is all about in a nutshell. Now let me introduce you to Bonfire Beach. I had actually come up with the name years before this fictional village really took shape in my mind. I didn't know where I would use it, what kind of place it would be. But when the idea for Stacey's story came to me and I started working on it and really playing and having fun with it, Bonfire Beach seemed like the perfect name because in this context, it reminded me of Salem, Massachusetts and burning witches at the stake. So given Stacey's story as well as the backstory of the mansion he moves into, and that'll come in a later video, it really fit. But I also wanted it to be very unique, like Stacey himself, and have the village kind of be a character in and of itself. I wanted the village and the people who live there to be entertaining and engaging and colorful and just make it a fun place to hang out and a fun escape from the real world. And hopefully that's what I've done. In the Cheryl and Corber world, Bonfire Beach is viewed as one of the Hamptons of the South. Historically, Bonfire was originally a fishing village. If you visit my website, sherylandcorber.com, you'll see that the Village of Bonfire Beach emblem contains a fish. Old Bonfire Beach was small, it was quiet, it was isolated from larger towns and cities, humble, blue-collar, salt of the earth, a beautiful, idyllic setting right on the Atlantic Ocean. But around the turn of the 20th century, some wealthy businessmen from up north happened upon the village and recognized its potential as a small, quiet, isolated, idyllic retreat from their hectic lives in New York and Philadelphia and Boston and other places up north. They bought as much of the surrounding land as they could get their hands on, and then they started in on the land that was already held within the village itself. They forced out the villagers, they shut down the commercial fishing industry that had given old Bonfire Beach its roots, and they began to design their dream retreat. There are only 200 some homes in Bonfire Beach. It's not a gated community, but it's accepted, up until Stacey shows up at least, that you don't move there unless you belong. And you know if you belong. There's one main street in Bonfire. It's elegant and classy looking and welcoming with numerous upscale organic eateries and unique boutiques, all of which welcome dogs. I'm a dog person. I am an animal person in general. It's a trait I gave to Stacey, and I wanted Bonfire to be pet-centric. So many people today consider pets to be part of the family, and the people of Bonfire Beach would certainly expect to be able to take them everywhere they wanted to take them. So they can. I would love to be able to do that, so I love that my fictional setting has that option. Bonfire is also located on the Intracoastal Waterway, so there's a yacht club, there's a country club, there's a golf course frequented by Tiger Woods and other PGA champions. There are no fast food places, nothing commercial like that, but there are 5-star restaurants that serve locally sourced seafood and produce and wine from local wineries, among other things. It's the best of everything, with every comfort imaginable, built and created by people who intended to maintain the status quo they were so used to, and then some. And for a while, after it was redone and revamped and everybody moved in, Bonfire did resemble any other normal-looking exclusive enclave up north, just sunnier and warmer with palmetto trees and a beach. Everyone and everything looked like everyone and everything else. But then in the 1950s, it changed, and it became unlike any other exclusive enclave anywhere in the world. The fun all started in 1951, when a retired gentleman by the name of Walter Brown relocated to Bonfire Beach from Connecticut. Walter was a bit of an eccentric. He was easily recognizable by his long, stringy gray hair and his penchant for plaids of all kinds, and no one who spoke to him and asked his background really got the same answer as the person who asked before them or the person who asked after. To hear Walter tell it, he was a Broadway actor, albeit not one anyone had ever heard of. He was a famous playwright, same, a mathematician who had worked on the Manhattan Project, a government spy, but he wouldn't confirm that it was for the CIA. He was the inventor of what he described as bubbleless soap. He was an executive chef for one of the Kennedys, but he wouldn't say which one. And finally, he was a professional cat groomer. He was a regular at 77, which was Bonfire's only pub-type establishment at the time, and he would come in by himself, carrying what appeared to be a violin case that he would set down in one corner, and he would sit at the bar by himself until closing, when he would pick up the violin case on his way out the door. He never opened it, so no one ever knew if there was really a violin in it. People liked Walter. He lived alone. He had no wife or kids. He kept to himself. He socialized very little outside of his nightly jaunts, I should say, to 77. And while he regularly received invitations to dinner parties, he graciously refused them all. So people simply kept an eye on him and bought him drinks when they happened to run into him at 77. And no one really thought much of Walter until he began to build the spaceship. It didn't immediately catch anyone's attention. When Walter's next-door neighbors passed away, he bought their house and promptly tore it down. And people assumed he wanted a larger yard, maybe for an English garden, although landscaper or gardener or botanist were never really any of his claimed professions, but people thought maybe so. He brought in contractors who mapped out and dug and poured a foundation that had a bit of an odd shape to it, but again, no one thought anything of it. But when the framing went up, and it showed a circular shape 3 times as wide as the foundation, people's collective curiosities finally began to get the best of them, and finally 77's bartender asked Walter one night what he was building. And Walter explained that his wife had been abducted by aliens 5 years earlier, and he thought that if he built a flying saucer that resembled the one that had spirited her away, the aliens might be inclined to move her into it and bring her back. No one was really entirely sure what to make of this, although very few people could say they were really surprised, knowing Walter. Those who objected to the idea of having a spaceship on the block did some checking and discovered that there were no regulations of any kind that prohibited property owners within the village from putting up any type of home they fancied. And so construction continued. And then one day, the last of the construction equipment was hauled away, and the ring of flashing lights that circled the belly of the spaceship was turned on, and there it stood, in all its shiny aluminum-sided glory. Villagers gathered across the street to stare, and Walter went up to the cockpit bubble on the top of the roof to wait. And he waited 10 years, but sadly, if the aliens did drop by to visit, they didn't bring Mrs. Brown with them. Walter passed away alone, and distant relatives had him transported back up north to Connecticut for burial. The spaceship sat empty for several months as a bidding war ensued with the local realtor. Everyone assumed that the bidders were duking it out for the rights to tear the thing down. But when the winners were ultimately declared, they were a lovely couple by the names of Richard and Emily Whitaker with 2 grown children and the largest yacht in Bonfire docked over at the Bonfire Beach Yacht Club. The Whitakers put their own dignified colonial-style house on the market and moved right into the spaceship. There was something to be said for whimsy, Emily told her horrified friends, and as for Richard, he unapologetically declared that he hadn't worked so hard for so long to not have a little fun in his later years, and so why not? And that is the story of how it all began. When Stacy arrives in Bonfire Beach, the murder mansion that he moves into is a scaled-down replica of the White House. And down the street is a working lighthouse. His new friend, Reese, who owns Halftime, the local sports bar, lives just a few hundred yards away from the beach in what looks for all the world like a ski lodge. There are a fair number of traditional-style homes, of course, but after Walter's spaceship became not just accepted but celebrated, the residents of Bonfire Beach began to shamelessly indulge their own dream house wishes, and the village is now known as a virtual playground where you never know what you're going to find around the next corner, literally. And as far as the villagers are concerned, that makes Bonfire absolutely perfect. So this is where we're going to be spending our beach weekends. Every week I'll be sharing more history, more backstory of places around Bonfire or in Bonfire, as well as the backstories of some of my favorite characters who live there, and I have a few other ideas I might want to try and incorporate as the summer goes on. We'll see if they work. As for now, welcome to my world. So far, there are 2 books out in the series, and I'm beginning work on book number 3, and here is the status of that as of today. I have a folder on my laptop with a number of scenes I had written before that didn't make it into the previous 2 books that will be a good fit for what I see happening in book 3. So the framework of the story has begun. I don't have a title yet. I don't have a tagline yet, but I am 95% set on the cover. I know what what I want the cover to look like. I'm excited about this book because I'll be introducing several of my absolute favorite characters, and I've been looking forward to this almost since the very beginning. When I first started writing the series, I actually thought I would be able to fit the entire season, 6 books, remember, into one book. I was nuts. I don't know what I was thinking. There is no way that would have worked ever. So these are characters I've been waiting to bring in for years, and I finally get to. So I'm beginning work on the general outline, making sure I hit all my plot points. I already have an idea as to what will be happening in books 4, 5, and 6, so I know what I need to set up and put into place in book 3 for all of that to happen. It's like putting a puzzle together. So this will be my summer, and it's a dream come true. This is all I've ever wanted to do, and I'm so blessed to be able to do it. It's so much fun. And half the fun for me comes from sharing my stories with people who enjoy them as much as I do, so I'm excited. Other things I have going on, if you follow me on Facebook, please do. It's Cheryl and Corber. You already know that I do something called 80s on the 8s. And if you don't follow me, like I said, please do. It's a lot of fun. 80s on the 8s caters to my love of vintage 1980s young adult series, namely ones that are somewhat obscure, meaning they were pretty well overshadowed by Francine Pascal and Sweet Valley High, which I also loved. Don't get me wrong, that was my age group. I collect vintage YA series, and every date that ends in 8 is an 80s on the 8s day. I have started with a series called Sunset High, and I don't have the book with me, unfortunately. I can't show you, but you can see the picture on my Facebook page. I'm posting chapter summaries on the Facebook page. I would love to do read-alongs, but obviously for legal purposes, I can't do that. So I'm writing up chapter summaries, and every 80s on the 8s day, I post a new chapter. So we're halfway through the first book in the Sunset High series. It's called Getting Experienced, and it's about a 16-year-old girl named Kristen Sullivan, whose family has relocated from St. Cloud, Minnesota to Beverly Hills. And Kristen is thrown into this whole new world and experience that's very different from back home. Again, it's all just for fun. I don't criticize. I don't offer commentary. Well, sometimes I do, a little bit. But it's fun, and it's a way for me to share one of my hobbies with you. The next chapter installment will be posted tomorrow, Saturday, May 28th, so I hope you tune in, so to speak. Secondly, other things going on this summer, I have coming up in just a couple of weeks my first paranormal investigation, my first ghost hunt of the summer. Like I said in the Beach Club trailer, I'm channeling my inner Stacey Storm, although his investigations take a different sort of tack, obviously. But it's fitting, and it's something I enjoy, and I do believe in. Again, obviously. This isn't my first investigation ever, but it's been years since my last one, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll be going to Hillview Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Back in the day, it was called the Lawrence County Home for the Aged, and it was a place where mentally ill people and elderly people and people who had nowhere else to go were housed. And it's now known as one of the most haunted homes in Western Pennsylvania. So I need to start doing some research on it and learning more about its history. I don't necessarily want to know what people have experienced there because I don't want to have any preconceived notions as to what to expect, but I would like to know more about it as a place in and of itself before I go. So that's where things currently stand with me. Now it's my turn to find out what's going on with you, which brings us to this week's giveaways. The first is a signed copy of Beach 101 Pilot, the first book in the Beach series. You get to win this. I have signed it. The second is, and this is where you definitely have to bear with me because like I said, I don't know yet how to insert an outside photo into a video, so I'm doing this old school. Second giveaway is a decal of my logo. Here we go. Can you see it? Which I've transferred to paper so you can see it. This is what it looks like. The one that you will be receiving, it's right here. You can put it anywhere you want to. Obviously, I'm going to be sending this one. It's brand new, unused. You can stick it wherever you want. I have one on the back window of my car. You can put it wherever. I'll be giving one of these decals away every week. That is a guarantee. I'll be throwing in other giveaways as the summer goes on, but you're not going to know what they are or when they're coming. That has to be a surprise. It's the law. So this week, it's the signed copy of Beach 101 Pilot and the decal. Again, here we go. Hold them up so you can see. One of these. Only one winner per giveaway. You can't have both. I will choose the winners at random from the comments down below, and I need you to answer questions. In order to do this, you are going to need to have a YouTube account in order to comment. But if you have one of that, here we go. For the book, if you would like to win the book, Comment below and tell me what you are doing to kick off the summer. And if you would like to win the decal, comment below. There we go. Comment below and tell me what your favorite vacation destination is. That's it. Simple. For the book, how are you kicking off your summer? And for the decal, where is your favorite place to vacation? All entries must be submitted by 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, May 19th. Like I said, I'll choose the winners at random and I'll reach out to you to let you know you've won and find out where I can send your prizes. So that's it. All right, I am off to enjoy the weekend. Again, please take a moment this weekend to remember and honor our fallen servicemen and women. And to those of you currently serving and who have served, I thank you for your service. Enjoy, everyone. I'll see you again next Friday night. Take care.